Okay, I've got a couple packages to go through. This one I do believe would contain some stuff I probably wouldn't normally show, but because it's in the box and I'm unboxing, I'm just going to be dumb about this. Not think about it too much. See here, this is should be a 15-foot long, 14-foot long Cat 6 cable. I got 3 of them. Yeah, y'all shouldn't care too much about that. I guess I can briefly talk about the reason why I got those. This down here. And this from the side, I got 3 wide internet LAN adapters that I think are Switch compatible. Fast and stable connection for online multiplayer, whatever. Nintendo Switch. The point is, I have a lot of docks here already. I have friends who come over, and I've been doing that on Tuesdays, and here we go. So one thing that might be different this time, now I've got those. Oh, for fuck's sake, I hate how I just can't get these things started. It's fucking open already. This time I created a Discord server. David Payne, one of my subscribers, kind of requested, but then it occurred to me, oh, that makes a lot of sense, because Discord is usually used to coordinate people playing games, and so having an official one for all my online activities made the most sense. Okay, let's put more stuff here. As you can see, I finally picked up my Reshiram and Zekrom things. I haven't actually redeemed them yet, because I'm being lazy as fuck. There's Luigi's Mansion for 3DS, though I don't know who I would play it with if I could. So let's start going through this. Sailor Moon, this should be S, the movie. Yeah, okay. It's taken a while. There's the S there. There's the movie, although that looked like 2 sets of subtitles and not 1. This is Blu-ray and DVD version. Oh, come on. Right now my temper seems to be pretty damn short. Let's see. Ooh, different underneath the thingamajig. Oh, that's good. Oh, let's see. Now let's take a look at the back, because we have a region A, and this is Viz, disc made in Mexico, hecho in Mexico. So, oh, of course it's gonna have a dub, right? Where the fuck does Viz put that information? Up here. English and Japanese stereo audio. Okay. On the inside, we have the DVD, and we have the Blu-ray. Okay, next up we have Juni Taisen Zodiac Wars, which is an interesting mix of stuff. There might be a girl hiding underneath the sticker, so we have to take it off. Yeah, looks like there was a girl hiding underneath the sticker this time. Let's see, I see a region A and a B. I see an English dub. Here's extras. The Zodiac Sessions. Clean opening, clean closing, and trailers. Yeah. Great. Hold on. Okay. So yeah, I was opening this up. Sorry. I guess the stress of the past week or 2 or something is finally started catching up with me. Or maybe it's just the past couple of days. I don't know. I want to get in here. I want to see my anime. I want to watch it. That's another intriguing picture. So we have Blu-ray 1, Blu-ray 2. Does it say 2? It says 2. And DVD 1 and DVD 2. More of that picture, but what the hell is that? Interesting. I don't know what it means though. I haven't seen this. I don't even think I've heard of it. I'm trying to think if any of these characters look familiar as well, since there are some characters that look, if not distinct, then close enough to distinct. Oh well, whatever. Monochrome Factor complete collection. Ooh, made in Japan. So what the fuck does that mean this even is? I'm getting a little tired of taking chances, and we're just gonna rip this open. Rip it open. Come on, open up. Open up. See, this is why we don't want to take chances, because it's sticking to the DVD case plastic for no fucking reason. A War of Shadows. Okay, well let's see. Down here I see it's Japanese with English subtitles only. 24 episodes on 5 discs. Okay, I'm trying to see, do any of these talk about extras? No, it doesn't. Maybe it's just stuff. There's a lot of naked men on the cover of these things. And I assume that's a naked man, although that's getting slightly into the more androgynous territory. But only slightly. So there we go. There's some sort of loose piece of plastic there. I'm just rolling my eyes a little bit. So it kind of looks neat, but I don't know what it's about. Obviously I could take a peek at the back, but I'm lazy. Next up, the 7 Heavenly Virtues. So, let's see, Sentai released this. I'm kind of wondering if it's related at all to the 7 Deadly Sins. No, 7 Mortal Sins. This one over here. But this one's a Funimation release, so I'm not sure if that makes sense. The naming just is kind of interesting. Maybe the back says something, but this is a Blu-ray. I don't even know, whatever. Sentai, Funimation. Tales paved with good intentions. These angels are the one who are building it. Well, it does seem similar to that one in that it looks very fan servicey. Look at that. It says it contains all 10 episodes plus OVAs. Down here we see there's an English dub. Special features, clean closing, also available from Sentai Filmworks. No clean opening? Maybe this doesn't have a clean opening. This one says it's 2 OVAs, in case that makes a difference to anybody. And disc made in Mexico, I think. Looks like there's nothing to do with that. It's just one disc, which could make sense. Yeah, this does say 1 disc. Okay, well that's the 7 Heavenly Virtues. And last but not least, we have Nanbaka Part 2. Have to take this off in case there's a girl hiding under it. Oh look, there's a toe. And a part of her leg. There we go. Let's see, going to the back. This prison's a riot. We'll take a look here. It's the same artwork. Let's just tear it up a little bit more because that little slit is apparently not enough for me to start peeling it off. There we go. Just break already. There we go. So now, looking at the back, I see a region A+B. I see an English dub, which is consistent with the previous release. Extras, just trailers. Interesting. What was that? Maybe familiar. I'm trying to remember. It's hard to tell because sometimes. Whatever. I'll dig that up in just a little bit. So this is Blu-ray 1. It's kind of hard to see. That's a 2. This should be DVD 1. Yeah. And there's DVD 2. That one says part 2. It does say part 2 up here. Okay. It says it right there if you didn't notice it. For some reason I haven't noticed where it said that. I just knew this was part 2. I don't remember what always is arriving, but I do tend to have a vague idea of what shipped. I guess I say vague idea because I know Nanbaka shipped because it shipped on its own, whereas this I also knew, and Sailor Moon I knew because that came from, I don't remember where, maybe Jusai, so I didn't know Monochrome Factor. Anyways, that's a lot of blabbing. I don't see anything else this side, so here's this week's anime DVD collection update. Alright, so I had started watching Armed Girls Machiavellism, whatever. You know, this thing, whatever this is. And last week I was kind of telling you that it starts off to a kind of a rough start, at least for someone with my preferences, in that it starts off with, oh, this used to be an all-girls school, now it's a mixed school and boys are horrible people or something like that. And you know, the main female cast, they represent that, but I also mentioned that it seemed to be subverting that a bit. So having finished watching all of it, I can say that, you know, I still don't like the characters because I think they're inherently shitty people and should probably be tortured to death or something horrible like that. But putting that aside, the character designs are actually pretty good. And the story uses them very well. So, for the most part, you can kind of guess what the structure of the show would be when you start watching it, but the interesting thing is it brings a lot of fresh ideas to the table, I think, where, okay, yeah, it's a harem anime about a guy who, you know, essentially gathers a harem, I guess. I mean, I think that's the case. It's just interesting in that the interaction with each girl is so completely different from the other ones. Like, his relationship with them isn't just, oh, yeah, this. It feels like there's a relationship with each one, and it's all very different. I'm trying to think of other harem anime, but, you know, usually it's, you know, they introduce interesting character traits, but their interaction with the main character tends to be the same. I wish I could come up with a good example, but for this one it's more like everybody's interaction with him kind of has them interacting with him in a different level, and part of that is why I kind of hesitate to say it's definitely harem, because I mean, I know it is, but at the same time some aspects of it don't quite feel that way, and I'd call that a good thing. It's basically, it means that it's got some fresh ideas, even if it's got kind of this rocky underbelly, and I don't think it undermines it enough for me to say that it's definitely good as something that undermines this misandrous kind of notion. It seems to be kind of sort of playing with it, but that also means it's kind of sort of not. Like, we're just supposed to, I don't know. So overall, very entertaining. I do wonder if the 11th episode is supposed to be an 11th episode, or is it supposed to be an OVA? I guess I didn't look too closely at it to see what the DVD said it was, but it's kind of interesting because it seems to be 50-50, where it does some stuff that I would only expect to have happened in an OVA, but it also kind of has some ideas that it floats that don't seem like they only belong in an OVA or something. They feel like some slight closure to what happened in the previous episode, so that's a bit weird, but overall not a waste of my time. You definitely, because sometimes even things I don't like have this interesting aspect to them, and I liked those interesting aspects. The characters felt fresh. The way the story progressed and changed felt fresh because they kind of had these fresh ideas, but it had issues with it that obviously I've already talked about. So next up, I watched Recovery of an MMO Junkie, and this one was pretty neat. If there was one thing I would, or maybe two things I would level at it as maybe issues, I'm not sure if I can really talk about one of them, but one of the issues is this isn't a bad issue so much as something felt slightly off issue, so that could just be me, my interpretation, or maybe the dub's different than the sub, or the Japanese version or the anime version is different from the manga version or something like that. But for the most part, it kind of acknowledged and understood this issue of characters not always being the same gender as the character they're playing in an MMORPG, so you can't assume. But at the same time, it seemed to lack that inherent assumption people have of any female character being a guy until proven otherwise. Because for the most part, the vast majority of the people playing the game are probably going to be guys. And so it's weird that they kind of play a little off with that. But outside of that, they don't. I can think of one issue I had story-wise with it, which kind of means that it's not a fully satisfying experience, but it felt like it set stuff up where there could be interactions with other people other than these two and maybe a couple other people, where it's like we didn't get a good feel for the world developing for or rather the way the situation developed for those characters, and we only get it really from the perspective of our two main characters. And if you watch it, you probably understand what I mean, where you're like, oh man, it would have been interesting to see the after effects of this, especially the after effects of this with regards to other people, but it didn't seem to be wanting to do that, which maybe not be a bad thing, but it is one of those things where I walked away a little disappointed, because I think I've pointed this out before. Sometimes the fact that somebody's doing something in an anime that you've seen done in other animes doesn't necessarily mean, oh yeah, fine, whatever, because usually some of the meat of what makes that sort of thing entertaining is not, oh, it's been done before, but oh, this is how the people around them react to it. I think there may be a bit of a empathetic reaction going on there, where it's like, oh yeah, it'd be really cool to kind of make people drop dead laughing or something like that. You know, just it's something that I think it's an important part, and I think that's probably the main thing this is a little on the weak side of. But outside of that, there's some interesting relationship stuff that happens in it that's also treating it very light-handed, but it's a little, I don't know. I'm trying to think how I can describe it without talking about what actually happened so I don't spoil people. But it seems to me like maybe some of the characters don't feel as grown up as it wants us to believe they are, given their immaturity, I guess. But maybe that's a thing where it's like they establish the characters as being kind of not really older, but not like, oh, I'm just a fresh kid out of college sort of thing. And some of their behavior almost feels more like that than, oh, I've been in the workforce for 10 years or something like that. So, I'm talking a little bit about these edge cases, what I didn't like about it, because outside of that, a lot of it was actually just really great. It's just fun, it's neat, and in that regard, it could actually be kind of bad as well. It reminded me a little bit of Chance Pop Session, where it's just like, it sets things up and you're like, oh, okay, interesting. That's how many coincidences do you want to pile on their show? And Chance Pop Session kind of goes crazy with that, and that's one of the things that's neat about that one. But I could also see that making people, I don't know, people probably wouldn't like it. It's just a little too sweet or something. And, you know, I guess knowing that this might have a little bit of that could be helpful information for people, because maybe you're looking for that, or maybe you're not. But yeah, overall, it was an interesting watch. I had to make sure I watched it all. Or was this the one that I wasn't sure if the final episode... No, I think it said it was an OVA. Did it? No. Yes? No? I don't know. Maybe that's the one that I thought the last episode was either half OVA, half not OVA, or something like that. Anyways, and Dragon Ball Super Part 5. I watched about half of this with my friend, and some of the things they've introduced are now starting to make a little more sense. And I guess it's interesting and enjoyable. It feels like there's some universe building stuff sort of going on. Like, it doesn't feel like it's reached the point of, oh, we have to train for half the season or something like that. And I'm not sure that Dragon Ball Z was ever actually that bad, but sometimes it feels like it's that bad. And I don't think Dragon Ball Super has done that yet. I think it's still staying very Akira Toriyama goofiness, but I have noticed there isn't as much talking about food lately. There has been a couple of fun little parts. But yeah, let's see. Outside of that, that's the stuff I've watched. And if any of y'all have been following my Twitch stream, you may be wondering, why haven't I streamed in a week? And it's a combination of things. Part of it is, of course, the stress I'm talking about, which is a combination of I maybe splitting my attention a little too much at work and pushing myself, combined with not enough relaxation and downtime at home. Part of which is related to going into work for a couple hours on Saturdays to help do a video game committee stuff. This weekend I don't have to do that, but there's another part of it that's a week ago when I was doing a Monster Hunter with my brother and his friend. We were working on an armor for him, and of course we ended up fighting a ton of Glavenuses. And at the same time, my point in my own playing time is, I'm fighting high-rank Glavenuses, and I was all Glavenused out. I wasn't wanting to do something else because we're talking about upgrading one of the weapons I use a lot. Okay, and the hiccups started for some reason. So that, combined with the fact that my friend who's playing Octopath Traveler is now right around the spot that I'm at, not quite as leveled as I am. I might be super over leveled, but basically he's there and I'm like, okay, I really ought to take a small break from Monster Hunter to focus on getting my characters where I want them to be in Octopath Traveler so I can try the final boss again. And in theory that could be streamed, but in practice I'm just leveling up characters. I mean, it's actually, I'm not even being varied about it. I went to a couple places to look for purple chests, found a couple, and then stopped finding them. I'm like, did I actually search here before? And I can't remember. And I'm like, I think I've got the inventory that I'm okay with having for now. So that's why I've just switched to being in that level 58 area and just fighting enemies, helping all my characters get, my goal is to get them to the 2 lowest level characters to 80. What the other characters will be at that point, I'm not entirely sure, but maybe low to mid 80s. I mean, they're all in their 80s right now, 80 and 82, I think. But yeah, I plan to get them there, and I'm not sure if that's strictly necessary for this final boss stuff, but it is a pretty tough boss, and the way I play may be making it harder for myself. But I plan to leave the game in a state where I can maybe play it the easy way if there is an easy way to do it, and I can do whatever I want, and then I'll probably stream me attempting the final boss again. You know, the true final boss. And if that succeeds and it doesn't ask me to save after beating them, then I'll probably be done with Octopath Traveler, for reals. And then, you know, back to Monster Hunter, I think. I'm trying to remember what other Switch games I currently have right now, but it's a juggling act. I've been juggling stuff. Oh well. So I think that's pretty much everything I was going to update today. Again, I think I mentioned this in the video. I started a Discord server. You know, it was a suggestion of one of my YouTube subscribers, and I think it's a really good way to have both Twitch and or YouTube followers who are like, yeah, Gigafrosty, not whatever. I'm not exactly sure what that should mean, because I don't think I don't even know how much I'll be able to focus on it. But it's intended to be a public server. I've taken a couple pieces of advice that it suggested, oh, if you're doing a public server, turn this on and turn this on. Okay, I will. And if I have to turn those off, I will. I'll play it by ear. But if nobody shows up, that's not a problem. If anything, I'm mentioning it a couple of times here just because I think that's the fair way to spread the information to subscribers who may be interested in that sort of thing. Because let's face it, I've been uploading these videos for what, 8 years? Maybe longer, maybe shorter, I don't know. And if you've subscribed with me for that amount of time and you've always wanted, oh, I wanted to join a Discord server that Gigafrosty made for some reason, then, well, maybe it's their wish come true. Anyways, I'm blabbing about something there. I need to wrap things up because the Elgato's not even plugged in. But yeah, the plan is my brother is bringing his friend over again tonight. He may be bringing another person who would be an observer, and it is possible that we'll have somebody who was at the stream last week join us this week. So we're going to figure all that out. But until then, y'all have a nice week.